What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to take a look at a leak/rumor, I guess, from notable leaker Daniel Richtman. We'll talk a little bit about him as this video goes on, but he says that NetherRealm is working on a Marvel fighting game for the PS5 and Xbox Series S and X. Now, that would be enormous if true, and we're going to talk about it. We'll talk about what he said, where what stage of development this game is in. Does it make sense? All of those things I want to nail in this video. And again, we got to talk about this guy in particular so we know if we could even trust him or not. But first, before I get too far in, if you guys do like this stuff, I try to cover as many leaks and rumors as I possibly can in games. And if you guys have not yet already, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you guys have the bell icon turned on. We're pushing for 50K. We got 2,000 left, so we need your help. And final thing is, if you guys haven't followed me over on Twitter yet, Podcast Now 15 is my Twitter handle. Would love to have you guys over there. And if you ever see any leaks, rumors, anything that I miss, definitely send it my way, and I would shout you out, give you credit in the video. Okay, so first we have to say who Daniel Richtman is. So he is a notable leaker. What I know him from primarily is like television and movies. So I don't see him covering games all that much. Now maybe that's just because I haven't been following him too closely. Okay, I know his Twitter. I don't think I follow him, but like I see, like I'll search him up. Like I see when he has interesting posts. But this was on his Patreon. Now I hate that personally. He said a few things on his Patreon, basically behind a paywall. That like if you want this leaked information or whatever, you need to pay monthly, obviously to get it. I'm a big supporter of Patreon. I'm a supporter of, supporting independent creators and all that kind of stuff. I mean, one day I'll do a Patreon or a membership thing on YouTube. It's just when you do leaks and stuff like that and then you hide it behind there, I guess it doesn't matter because people will, put it out there. So people will put it on Reddit, people will put it on the internet just in general. It won't be basically exclusive to those Patreons for all that long, but that's another reason why it kind of sucks. He's right a good amount of the time. He's not right every time. I know personally for me, funny tangent story is that I'm waiting. He said that there is around 10 Pirates of the Caribbean projects being worked on by Disney in terms of movies, in terms of TV shows. I'm waiting for that to happen because we know of 2 of them. They're very far out. We haven't heard anything really about them over the last year or so. And then he claims that there's 8 more things happening. So I'm waiting for that to happen in order for me to, I guess, fully believe him. But no, in all honesty, he does get quite a few things right. He does get things wrong, or maybe he just gets things right in time, right? You have to give him a little bit of time for them to be right. But again, he says that NetherRealm is developing a Marvel fighting game for next-gen consoles. Details are thin on the ground at this point, but he claims that the game is already in production. And, this is not impossible. So I guess the first thing that you could say, and in fact, on Reddit, they even say, for those confused, yes, NetherRealm could legally do a Marvel fighting game if Disney and Warner Bros. Made a deal for it. They've already worked together in the past for the Lego Marvel and Star Wars games, along with Lego Incredibles and a Cars 3 tie-in game. And Ed Boon confirmed that he has had talks with Marvel, but didn't speak about that any further. And that's true. And, over the last, I'd say year, probably just full year, we've heard quite a few rumors that this could potentially be happening. I know a lot of people would go to the Jeff Keighley interview. I remember when Jeff Keighley interviewed Ed Boon, and there was a few things that Ed Boon was saying that made it sound like this is something that could potentially happen. Now, my question is, I thought, Injustice 3 would come next. I mean, that's kind of well, let me say this. There's been 2 separate big leaks, and not even leaks, but like pushes of thought for NetherRealm, okay? One is a lot on Injustice 3, whether it's... Now, remember, early on, it was like, okay, it's not going to release this year. It's probably going to release in 2022, all that stuff. And there's been leak after leak after leak that, yes, it is happening. Yes, it's going to release, within the next year or 2. Yes, there's all these new fighters and all this stuff, okay? So there's been a lot of that. But then there's been another set, again, like a subsection. There's been another set of people that have said, prepare for Injustice 3 to not be NetherRealm's next game. And that always interested me. In fact, I believe, and this was probably a year and a half ago that we first heard that, I think I made a video on it, where it's like, okay, if Injustice isn't their next game, what could be. Obviously, it's not Mortal Kombat because they just did that. Yeah, they're still supporting it, but it wouldn't be Mortal Kombat. So if it's not Injustice, well, then you can kind of go crazy, right? Do they do a game that's not a fighting game? I mean, that would be a very big change, probably pretty unlikely, although Ed Boon did say that he does want to make games that aren't strictly just fighting games. He does want to make, at some point of his life, and he's getting up there, at some point of his life, he wants to make a game that's not a fighting game. But it's very possible that if we connect all the dots here, Injustice 3 will happen. Injustice 3 will probably happen later than a lot of people want it to, which does suck. I mean, I do want Injustice 3. I mean, it's been enough years. It's been 4 years, right? And next year would be 5. If you did a Marvel fighting game and you did it next year, so now you're at 5, and then you do another 2 years for Injustice, and not even, that's a long wait for Injustice, but then it would actually be a pretty long wait for Mortal Kombat, because you probably wouldn't get Mortal Kombat till after Injustice 3. So obviously, they've normally gone back and forth over the last several years. They've just gone back and forth between Mortal Kombat and Injustice, and then if you throw in a third game, well, now you have to add, one more game to their cycle, which will take them even longer. Now, they do a tremendous job. It's not impossible to believe that maybe their studio has grown and they're able to do more than one game at a time. I mean, Mortal Kombat, I think, was like back in 2019 when it came out, and I think even last year, like it's top 5 games sold every year. So like it sells enormously well. So, they make a lot of money. I'm sure Warner Bros. Is very happy with NetherRealm. They could be making more than one game at a time. But this would be great. I mean, I know a lot of people want a maybe like a Marvel versus DC thing. Now, they just say a Marvel fighting game. So that doesn't mean there's a crossover. Could very just well be like they're going into Marvel territory. And again, they have done that before. So I think that'd be interesting. That would, again, like I love Mortal Kombat. I love Injustice. I want more. But it does shake things up, I would say, in a good way, right? Where it's like, okay, well, we've gotten these games quite a bit, especially with Mortal Kombat. Like, you kind of know what to expect. Not dissing the game. They're the games at all. Okay, they're really amazing games, especially the last couple. But to throw in an extra one, I think this would make a lot of people very, very happy. Right? Marvel's had a very up and down path in terms of gaming. The Telltale Guardians of the Galaxy game sucked, in my opinion. Marvel's Avengers was not very good, I guess, again, in my opinion. Spider-Man and Miles were obviously pretty good. But besides that, having a fighting game thrown in there would actually be really, really cool. So I am more inclined to believe this. Daniel Richtman normally tells the truth. And again, we've heard this before. We've heard interest in Marvel games before from NetherRealm and Ed Boon. We've heard that Injustice is not going to be their next game and that it'll be something else. So, like, again, putting all these things together, definitely, it could definitely signal that they're going to be doing something that's not Injustice 3. So let me know, guys, in the comments below, what do you think? Would you prefer this? Would you prefer they wait on this and do Injustice 3 first? Let me know. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed. Again, if you guys have not yet already, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. If you guys want to follow me again over on Twitter, Podcast Now 15, link is in the description below, or you can look it up on Twitter. Thank you all so much for watching. I really, really do appreciate it. I hope to see you all on the next video.